All right, this is the 2024 Indian Challenger Elite. Today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this motorcycle and, in my opinion, is it actually worth buying? Now, this is all thanks to American Biker here in Latson, South Carolina for letting me come out and take a look at this very exclusive bike. Only 325 of these things are actually made. This one is number 83. So again, big thanks to those guys. And if you need anything, talk to Rob at American Biker. Let's go ahead and get started. Well, the first thing you'll notice is the paint job. And one thing that Indian does really well is they make the Challenger Elite really stand out from the rest of them. And so that's one of the biggest things you actually get on this motorcycle is the paint. And this year, instead of going with like the blue and gray of last year, they went with a black metallic with that red candy accents on it. And so that red paint actually mixes in really well. You have it on the same wheel up front. That's a 10-spoke wheel, and then Metzler Cruise Tech tires. And then you'll notice like the Indian badge on the side of the tank. You also have red on the stitching on the seat. So it's, you know, tastefully done. Another thing with the paint is you'll notice last year they actually had a bunch of small Indian heads on here. Now they have this acid wash stripe that goes from the fairing back to the tank and to the bags as well. So overall, whoever put this paint scheme together, they need a raise because they did a really nice job there. You have a black tinted flared windshield up here. Of course, it is motorized like the rest of the Challengers. And then we have the inverted front forks, Brembo brakes. All of that stuff is pretty much the same as any Challenger. Of course, the wheel is a little bit different. This is also a redesign. I believe they did this last year where they kind of thinned out the Indian head there, but it still does light up for you. We have the adaptive LED right here, turn signals on either side, and then with the Elite, they actually give you the Pathfinder LEDs as well. So you got a bunch of light up here. One nice thing that they did, and I didn't notice this last year anyways, is they actually took the fog lights and they give you some options. So if you turn the high beam on, you can either have the fog lights stay on or they will turn off. That's up to you. That's something you can adjust in your settings. All right, we still have the 7-inch ride command, so they haven't really changed anything there. We have our analog tachometer and speedometer, and then we also have a digital version in this as well. Pretty much all the same controls. We have our cruise control. We can adjust our windshield. We have our music button over here. We have a back button that will cycle through all of the different screens. I've showed this stuff quite a bit, so I'm not going to go through every single detail like that. But one of the coolest things that these bikes actually have that are shared with the Pursuit is the Fox electronically adjustable shock. So essentially what you do is you go in here and you say, okay, I weigh 200 pounds. I have a passenger, I have some luggage, maybe I have a tour pack. Then you calibrate that and it will actually rise and adjust the shock electronically dependent upon the amount of weight that you have. By calibrating it, it will actually, you know, keep those settings there, but you can also fine tune it from the home screen and do most of your adjustments in the settings in here. So it's actually a really cool feature. You don't have to take the seat off or none of that. It's actually one of my favorite features on these bikes. We have a 6-gallon tank. Of course, we have special badging in here that shows this is number 83 out of 325. Gas tank lid, all of that. Overall, the seating position on these is very similar to any other Challenger. It's something that I would definitely do some handlebars on. You may not notice it when you're going around town or maybe even on shorter rides, but you're kind of, you know, holding on to those bars. I would much rather have something that comes up and back just a little bit. Overall, it's a comfortable bike, don't get me wrong, and the Challenger cuts through the wind just as good as the Road Glide does. But at the same time, these bars would definitely have to go. You also have a little bit of storage on each side over here, nothing crazy about that. Now this one does have the power band audio, so that's the new thing for 2024. It has a soft white underglow under the speakers there, which you can really only see when it's really dark outside, but it does provide 400 watts of power to this system. I tried it on the Pursuit, which has, I think that one has 6 speakers straight from the factory, and you can add 2 more. And it is a crazy good stock system. I mean, it really is super impressive. Another thing they give you is a 9-band equalizer instead of the traditional 5. So you could adjust that, you know, or have it adjust depending on your speed, wind noise, all of that stuff. I don't like that kind of feature. I would just go in there and manually adjust it and then turn it down as needed, but you have those options. TPMS sensors, we have our fog light button on the inside of here. Now, you still retain the same motor as every other Challenger. I say that, and it's not a bad thing. It's the 108 Power Plus motor, which is liquid cooled, so you have 128 foot-pounds of torque and 122 horsepower. It is a monster. And until the Harley Davidson with the 121 came out, it was the, you know, fastest stock bagger motorcycle. I mean, it really is impressive how quickly these things get up to speed. Plus you have ride modes to adjust that throttle response. So it really is a very fun motorcycle to ride with a lot of utility. Now we have a 6-speed transmission. You also have your engine guards up there. You have these special floorboards with the inserts for the passenger and of course the rider. Now stock from the factory, these bikes are quick, but they sound like a freaking sewing machine. I mean, that's kind of the common complaint with the Challenger. So it's definitely, you know, I would say most people do not want to ride this bike stock. You know, doing an intake, doing exhaust, those are pretty common things. So you have this gel-like seat with the red stitching for your rider and passenger. It is a really comfortable seat. I don't know how it does over longer road trips, but it has a nice support here for your lower back. Your passenger actually gets a pretty decent setup as well. And then our other 2 speakers with that underglow are right here in the lids, so you don't have to do any kind of cutting or anything like that. It's a pretty decent system. I think the one on the Pursuit with the 2 extra speakers though, it is absolutely a banger. You of course get plenty of storage on the inside of these. One nice thing with all of the Challengers is that you actually have a key fob which will lock and unlock the motorcycle right from the fob. So you don't have to get down there and fumble around with the key. It does have a keyhole just in case your battery goes dead or something, but that is nice. Coming around to the rear, they also have these running lights right here. Unfortunately, they're not an integrated turn signal or a brake light, but I'm sure Custom Dynamics could hook you up if you end up buying this bike. And then of course you can see that acid watched graphic right there. And by the way, it is in the paint. It's not actually a stick-on graphic. When I say that, just don't want people getting the wrong impression. Dual exhaust, rear fender, integrated brake and turn signals back in the rear. So overall, I'd say if you want a Challenger and you don't want to do pretty much anything with it except your exhaust or your intake or anything like that, then go for it. I do think it's worth it. But if you want to have a bike that is truly elite, this one, besides the paint and besides the electronically adjustable shock, pretty much everything else you can add to a regular Challenger. As a matter of fact, I'm about to compare these 2 bikes, so be on the lookout for that video as well, and just kind of give you an idea, you know, price-wise and some of the biggest differences. Overall, it's a really beautiful machine. I just wish they would have pushed the bar a little bit further. They sat on what they had. It's a beautiful bike. I love the paint. I love a lot about it. I just wish they would have done something more, but that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear from you guys, any Challenger owners or any Elite owners. Let me know what you think about this one. Big thanks to you guys for watching. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.